Hey, are you an entrepreneur struggling to stay ahead of competition? Are you facing challenges in managing your finances or even keeping your team motivated? Do you need a business growth strategy but do not know where to start? If so, you are not alone. Many business owners face these challenges every day. But there is a solution. Introducing Merge Business Consulting, your trusted partners for your business needs, with our proven methodologies, research, and personalized approach. We navigate complexity on your behalf. We drive results. Let us help you take your business to the next level. At Merge Consulting, we understand that every business is unique. That is why we offer tailored solutions to your specific needs. Whether you are just starting out or looking for growth, we are here for you, empowering your business to reach its full potential. Contact us today and schedule a consultation at info@mergeconsulting.co.za or visit our website at www.mergeconsulting.co.za. You have to be burning with an idea or a problem or a wrong that you want to right. If you are not passionate enough from the start, you will never stick it out. These were the words of Steve Jobs. Marini Naturals is Africa's first quality haircare range for all natural hair. It is a Kenyan-owned haircare line founded by two friends, Ntalami and Niyati Patel. The idea came to Michelle in 2013 when she made the decision to live a healthier lifestyle and hence cut her hair to grow it afresh naturally. However, at the time, there were very few good quality and affordable products that catered to the African woman with natural hair. For months on end, Michelle spent so much time and money in search of the perfect products that could work on her kinky African hair. She began importing a few, but these were too expensive to be sustainable. Being a natural herself, Michelle understood what other natural African women were going through every day in the quest to find quality products or regimen that actually work without leaving their pockets dry. Because of this, she was determined to create a quality hair care line that is fully suited to the natural-haired African men, women, and children alike. She shared the idea with her family and her best friend Niyati, and the beautiful journey began. Through their research, they discovered that the main struggle for Africans wasn't so much growing long hair, but keeping their hair healthy, soft, and manageable. Niyati, being from an Indian heritage, brought in a wealth of expertise on how to maintain long, strong, healthy hair using natural herbs and remedies, as has been the secret of the Indian community for years. Together, they therefore sought to make moisture the main differentiator for all Marini Naturals products. This is because moisture is the key to healthy, manageable, and strong African hair. And so, in 2013, with the help of top laboratories, formulators, cosmetic experts, hairdressers, and designers, they came together, researched, formulated, and tested, and created a product of their own. They called it Marini Naturals. This is my entrepreneurship journey, a show about entrepreneurs, innovators, and thought leaders. I'm Difo Machele, and welcome. Nia.
Yes.
Welcome to my entrepreneurship journey podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for availing your time to be with us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to this. I've actually never done this before, so I'm trying to see what it's going to be about.
It's gonna be wonderful. I promise you.
Great.
Marini Naturals, your company. Um, take us through how it all started. How did it come about?
Wow, Marini Naturals. So, Marini Naturals is actually Michelle Ntalami and my brainchild. We started it about 8 years ago now in 2015, but our initial conceptualization of Marini Naturals was in 2014. So it all started when Michelle decided to go natural, rock her beautiful natural
Mm.
hair. And we did not get any products at that time here in Nairobi. So we had to get all the products from abroad, from Amazon, and had to ship them in. So by the time they were landing, the costs were extremely
Mm.
high. So she decided to be, doing everything at home. So, they say whatever you can use on your body, whatever you can, use to ingest, which is good for you, is actually good for your hair as well.
Ah.
So she decided to, go to the supermarket, get coconut oil, avocado oil, shea butter, mix all that at home, start applying to her hair, and her hair started flourishing naturally. So, one night she calls me up and she's like, Nia, I have the best idea ever. And I'm like, okay, tell me. And she went on and she's like, you know what? We're going to start a hair care line. I haven't come up with a name, but very soon you're going to hear back from me and we're going to do this. And that's how Marini was conceptualized.
Wow. And Marini, you both came decided on the name that we are calling it Marini, or was it one of you's idea? And why the name Marini? And actually, what does it mean?
Oh, great. So, no, Marini was our initial
Okay.
name. We settled on Marini Naturals together, but we had other names that we wanted to try out originally. But we decided to stick with Marini because Marini in Swahili, Swahili is Kenya's national language. So Marini in Swahili means naturally beautiful.
Ah.
So, yeah, so we wanted to encourage the women out there to be proud of their natural beauty. Plus, our products in Marini Naturals, at that point, we had decided that we are going to be using everything natural, everything good for you, so that when you use Marini Naturals, you know that you're only using goodness for your hair.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
and so I mean, I'm gonna backtrack a bit. When now she called you one evening, or you guys now had your meeting, and she's like telling you about this. Did you buy it in
Yeah.
immediately? It's like, okay, this is brilliant, Michelle. Let's do it. Or did you have any
Okay,
doubts?
so yeah.
Yeah.
I did. I didn't have any doubts. So the beautiful thing with Michelle and me is we've had a business partnership for a very long
Ah.
time. So before Marini was conceptualized, we had another company that did branding, interior design, brand development. So we've been working together for 4 years before Marini was conceptualized. And the thing with us is when there's something new, we jump in head first. We ask the questions
Wow.
later. So by the time she was telling me about Marini Naturals and her whole idea, and I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. We're going to try and see if we can run both companies together. But sadly, we couldn't manage our time with both the companies, so we had to close the
Yeah.
other one because Marini was. We didn't realize, but it was Goliath, and it was taking up all our time, and it was on the streets of Nairobi, and everyone loved it. So we decided to do it 100%.
Wow, wow. And you know when the both of you are discussing this is what we will do, this is I'm thinking you are a psychologist and and both of you do not have, I don't know, like a chemical or chemist or
Yes,
biotech,
yes,
all of those sciences
yeah.
background. You didn't
Yeah.
even for a bit feel intimidated?
So we okay. So here's the thing. When you decide that you want to do something and it becomes sort of like a passion
Mhm.
project, I think every step you take, the doors just naturally open up for you, and that's what happened to us. We had no formulator. We didn't know where to start formulating. We knew what we wanted to put in our product, and we knew what we want our products to do for natural hair, but we didn't know how to go about it. And very shortly, when we started, trying to get contacts, we met this amazing lady who was at that time working with Beardsdorf, and we had a contact also in Italy and France. Michelle, let me go back a
Yes.
little bit. Michelle did her interior design in 2014 in
Okay.
Italy. So when Marini was essentially conceptualized, she had already started talking to perfumeries, and they started giving us formulators, and then we got one from Nairobi as well. Now she's in States, but at that point, doors just started opening up for us. Um, she she told us, if you want to achieve, let's say, moisture for your
Yes.
hair, these are the products that you can use. This is safe for you. This is how we are going to formulate. And one thing led to another, and we had our first initial 6 products.
Ah, so interesting. So now to start, you had all of these experts helping you, Michelle's connections, and she had formed
Yes.
networks. Did you now have to go to a space of work like a lab? Where you would mix and test and all of that, or would you doing it from your kitchen?
Okay, so the initial product before we had conceptualized Marini was from the kitchen, where Michelle used to mix all these
Okay.
products, and they were just natural ingredients,
Mhm.
right? But when Marini was conceptualized and we had to write down our formulations, we had to go to the lab. So we weren't there initially when the products were being formulated, right? Because that's we need to test them
Mhm.
first, approve their consistency, their fragrance, how they feel on touch, how it works on your hair. And once we approve, that's when we put our next stages in the lab. So we'd go with our formulators to the lab, ask them to add maybe a little bit more shea butter for the moisture, or reduce the perfume because it might have been too
Mhm.
heavy. So we had to sort of, how you put your puzzle pieces together to make it whole.
Yes.
So when we first got the product from our formulator, it was, let's say, half at best,
Okay.
right? And then we walk into a lab with Michelle, and she is the one who will say, you know what, I want this added, I want this reduced, I want the consistency to be so and so. And when we got out of the lab, we had finalized on the products.
Wow. And yeah, you said in the beginning your product you had your product offering you had 6 products to start.
Yes.
Which ones are those?
Yes. Right. So our initial 6 products, we wanted to bring in 6 products that you can use as a range, and you will not need any other product at that stage,
Mm.
right? So we had, first and foremost, we had a shampoo which helps cleanse your hair. It's sulfate free, it's amazing, leaves your hair feeling moisturized and soft and detangled. Then we have our leave-in conditioner, Marini Naturals Super Detangling Leave-in
Mm.
Conditioner. After that, we did our curling butter. Then we had an amazing potent hair growth oil, which helps with hair growth. Your hair usually flourishes. And we had at that stage, we had a gel for 3C, type 3C
Mm.
hair. So those are the 6 products we had initially started off with. And sorry, I'm forgetting one. We had a spritz, daily spritz that you can use whether your hair is, braided, or you have protective styling, or you have your natural hair out. You could use the spritz like 3 or 4 times a day, and you know that your hair is consistently moisturized.
Yeah. Ah, okay. And I wonder, Nia, when you now started working and testing all of this, and you're both curious, both
Yeah,
into this, and
yeah.
now up to that stage now when you have your products. Now there's your
Hmm.
products. These products now have to go to the people. So now you have this your product as a finished product. Now it has to get to the people. You have to make decisions together.
Yes.
I wonder, working together, did you sometimes have disagreements about decisions? No, let's
Mhm.
not go there. Let's do this. And did you have major disagreements? And if so, how did you handle those?
Mhm. Wow, that's a wonderful question. And I always say this that Michelle and I are best
Mm,
friends, when the business started. So we've had more disagreements as friends
mm,
as opposed to business. And I know this is hard to believe, but the one thing we realized that this business partnership is going to work really well for us is that her strengths are my weaknesses. So I'll give you an
mm,
example. If Michelle can sit down and do brand strategy for 6 hours straight without moving a
mm,
muscle, right? She just be focused. She has a one track mind, and she's going to say, you know what, let's give me like a few hours. I'm going to work on this, and once it's done, I'll call you in and we can discuss it.
yes.
And I'm like, okay, that is brilliant. So she's great at brand development. She's great at conceptualizing, building brands. She'll take a brand from Nairobi and start it off in Finland, and you'd wonder how she did
Mm,
it. But she's a genius marketer. Whereas when she conceptualizes something, I'm great at making sure that concept is turned into a reality. So everything that she does, I can't do. Everything that I do, she can't do. So I think it just joined really well. And to answer your question about um, business disagreements, we don't really have disagreements. We have questions. So for example, if she'll tell me like, you know what, Nia, we want to get a retailer in South Africa and we'd like to sell the products. So I'd say, okay, this sounds a bit difficult, but do you have anyone we can contact, or how do we go about it? What's the solution? So it's always a conversation with us. It's never, no, we're not going to do it. It's about understanding each other as business partners, because I always believe if she comes up to me and gives me an idea, there's a reason for that. So you always have to go back and understand that reason before you can start giving your opinions. And if you feel like that reason is strong enough to work, then you go for it. If you don't feel like that reason is strong enough, then you step back and you ask questions like, okay, how is it going to work? Do you think it's viable for the business to do this? And then at the end of the day, I always believe that we come to an understanding.
hmm. So it seems like you both leverage on each other's strengths. I
Mhm.
can do up to here, and she will do from there to there, and there's a level of respect between friends, and
Yes.
and and that is how it works. That is beautiful. That is
Yes.
beautiful because in business, sometimes we could have brilliant ideas together, and now going there on the field, we start having disagreements,
Mhm.
and the other one goes the other direction, and in no time the
Yeah.
dream is gone.
Yeah, that is so true. And, we've heard stories like that, and it's sort of sad. But I always say that I'm very, very lucky to have found someone who, we can work together and make sure that our goals are very similar. And the level of respect is so important. You're so
Mm,
right. Because if you don't respect each other's JDs, job descriptions,
mm,
and what they do, then you're not going to go anywhere. And in business, you have to stick together. It's you and your business partner and your business against the world, for the world. I always say that. because you have to work together. Otherwise, the business will sink.
You said something, respect each other's job descriptions. So, so, so
Yes,
it's like have a clear plan of who will do what and when. And
yes,
that is so
yes.
important. That is,
It is. And when you make decisions according to, for example, I make a decision where production is concerned,
mhm,
right? Um, so I'd say, you know what, today we are going to do X number of production runs with a certain product. And when I go and talk to Michelle about it, even though she might have her doubts, she'd first want to understand where I'm coming from and why I'm saying that, because that's my area of
okay.
expertise. And she can come in and ask me the questions just to understand it better. And usually at the end of the day, we get to the same point.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And now this your products, now you have your six products out there.
Mhm.
Now that process of packaging
Yes.
and getting it out there, like you said, Michelle would be formulating something in Nairobi, then the next thing is being used in Finland, for example.
Mhm.
That packaging and an export moving product out of Kenya. Did you guys have
Mhm.
like some prior exposure to those kind of processes, or you learned as you went along?
Oh my goodness, we actually learned as we went along. It was trial and error consistently for the last 8 years. And I feel like now is when we are actually getting a hang of it. But so when we first started Marini, okay, so let me tell you, the packaging that you see on our
Yes.
website, on our page, on social media platform, that is all Michelle. As I say, she's an interior designer, but she also designs, creates, and make brands look really beautiful. So that's all Michelle, like the logo, the writing, the whole packaging, conceptualization is all
Hmm.
her. And initially we had our bottles done here in
Okay.
Nairobi, but then we wanted to step up, because we not only wanted to compete with local brands, we also wanted to compete with international brands like Sheer Moisture, As I Am, Cantu.
Ah.
I mean, if you're going to make a product, you need to make it the best so that you can be on the same shelf as these other major brands.
Hmm.
So our concept to rebrand and make the bottles look like that was also trial and error. We had initially decided, yes, we'll change the bottles, but we didn't know how we were going to go about it. And then one thing led to another. We went to China, we got our packaging done, imported it, and all this. It sounds very easy when I
Yeah,
say
yeah.
this. It's so hard, like going to China, you're in a country where you don't know the language. You're consistently having conversations using Google
Translate. Yeah.
Translate. um, yeah, but trying to get someone who's going to deliver and ship the bottles to you, trying to deal with the government releasing the container. It's all just a vast ocean of decisions out there, and it's so difficult, but we managed to do it one step at a time.
Ah, so you guys were that proactive to say we are not going to be communicating by email on the internet. We're going to China. We are taking the step to go
Yes.
there physically, and wow.
Yeah, we wanted to see the feel of the bottles, how it's going to look once the bottles have been branded. So we we like making decisions quick. So if you're going to if you're going to approve something, it's better you see it, you feel it, and approve it there and then, and you move. That's the next
Mhm.
step. Yeah.
Interesting. And of course, you sell your products uh, online on your via your website, and you have a physical
Mhm.
store as well. In,
So we used to have a physical store. Okay, so we have three channels of selling our
okay.
products. Of course, we have an online platform. We have business to customer. So in case a customer wants Marini, they can come directly to our factory and buy the products. And the channel is business to business, so business to a retailer or a distributor. So they come and buy the products from us and they distribute it across. Originally, when we had started Marini, we had a physical store here in
Mhm.
Nairobi, which was doing fantastic. However, when COVID hit, the footfall in malls, basically a lot of things shut down for like two
Yeah.
years. So we didn't think it was viable for us to keep a store running. And it's not probably going to hit the sales quota every month. So we decided to shut it down. But the good news is, as soon as we shut down the store, the physical store, our sales online spiked.
Ah.
Yeah, because a lot of people during COVID decided to do online shopping. They didn't want to get out of the
Yes.
house, so that worked really well for
Yes,
us.
yes. And with with the
Yeah,
COVID and the lockdowns, the online shopping,
yeah,
you're sitting in the house and you're thinking, what can I do to uplift my mood? And you start browsing and buying this, and things you would probably
exactly.
not do when you're passing down the street and you see the physical store. You would maybe go in, get one
Yeah,
product, or just pass.
yes, exactly. That is so
Yeah.
true. I think a lot of businesses survive on how do you say it? Window shopping,
Yeah.
right? And then you go for window shopping, but you like a product and you'll pick it. Now it's all about browsing and clicks and how many ads you get on
Right.
Google, and how many people are talking about your product
Yeah.
online.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder, Nia, how is the beauty and cosmetic industry like in Kenya, especially of natural products, because you manufacture natural organic products. And,
Yes.
and in comparison to when you first started 8 years ago to now, do you see
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
improvement in likability? Are people moving more
Mhm.
towards and using natural products, or was it always like that?
That's a very good question. So there's a vast improvement in the beauty
Mhm.
industry. I think naturally the world is going towards using more organic things for yourself, your body, and it's become sort of like, allow me to use this word, but don't take it figuratively. It's like a cult
Okay.
where you only want to use natural stuff,
Yes.
right? Because you know the negative effects of using chemicals on your
Mm.
body. And we've seen that um, for so long, that when you use a certain product, it probably affects your skin negatively or you break out. So when you change your product and you use a good quality product that has natural ingredients, your skin flourishes, right?
Yes.
So the beauty industry in Kenya, I'd say, has vastly improved. I mean, the range of products that you get in the last 10 to 15 years is insane, even the quality of product is amazing. And I always say
Yes.
this: no matter what in the world, even if you go through a recession, beauty and hair industry, just like food, is recession proof. Like, you'll always want to look good, you'll want to spend a little bit of money on hair, beauty, makeup.
Yes.
as women, I say. So it's greatly improved, and I feel so proud because there are a lot of local companies that are also coming up, you know, putting out products in the market that are good for you, and they understand it, and it's amazing to
Yeah,
see.
yeah. You know,
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier that you wanted your product to be a quality product, even by the look and the feel and what ingredients that went in it. And you want it to be on those shelves like Cantu and all of those amazing products.
Yes.
So now I wonder, sitting here, I want to, I want to try using your products. I'm in
Yes.
Johannesburg, South Africa, right now, sitting here. So
Right.
if I want now
Yeah.
to order your products, do I go on your website
Mhm.
or can I find them locally here?
So we had a supplier in South Africa, in
Okay.
Pretoria. Unfortunately, she had to move back to Nairobi. So currently, I am looking for a supplier in South Africa who we can work together to sell our products, because there is a pretty huge demand in
Mm,
SA. But for you personally, if you want to buy something, you can easily come to our website. Choose the products that you want. At the end of the day, you're given a purchasing option where you choose the delivery option. So we've partnered with DHL
mm-hmm.
worldwide, and you can use DHL to have the product shipped to you. And usually you get it within 2 days.
Yes. Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. You know, you mentioned also Michelle, your co-founder. She's in the US, and you are in Nairobi. We now
Mhm.
work in such spaces, you know, digitally. How have you found that to be, where you're not together all the time physically? How is that
Yeah.
work balance? How is it working out? Do you find it challenging?
Right. Hmm. So, initially it was challenging because we still needed to understand each other where Marini is concerned, and get our footings right. But now, because we are on that level of understanding, and like, okay, if Michelle was here, I know she'd want to do
Right.
XYZ, and vice versa. It just takes like a phone call and not a physical meet,
Yes.
for us to make decisions. So I'd say it gets easier with time, because it's like a marriage,
Yes.
right? So you know what your partner would like and what he wouldn't like. And it's the same for business partners. Like, it's just a matter of understanding each other, and you understand each other with trial and error, right?
Yes.
So you'd say, okay, you know what, let's do this, and she wouldn't like it, and I'm like, but, and she'd be like, okay, but reasoning.
Yeah.
I say it gets easier with time, and you understand one another, with
Yeah.
time, and you give each other the opportunity to communicate and explain themselves. So a phone call is more than enough for us now.
Wow. Because you have established
Yeah.
yourselves. You have done the hard
Yes.
work and yeah. Well, eh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
talking about that, uh, Nia, what are some of the
Mhm.
major challenges when you're looking back from when you guys started
Right.
that you faced
Hmm.
then, you know, compared to now? Like, you know, we had
Yeah.
this big hurdle. I don't know how we got through it, but this was the most
Yeah.
challenging thing we ever faced.
Right. So, I mean, there's several, but let me try and highlight the
Yeah,
key. So, our key challenge was first to get capital, right, for Marini.
right.
It's not easy as entrepreneurs to have cash lying around, and we were pretty young at that time. So, we had to like struggle for a couple of months before our family and friends came together with the capital, which was great because we initially had approached banks, and we have this whole business plan and a
Mm,
pitch. But we realized very early that if you don't have something that is already running, no financial bank will come and support you until they see that this project actually works. So they'd always tell us that, first go, make it work, see if it's making money, then you come back and we'll very happily give you a loan to run the
Yeah.
capital. And it broke our hearts initially, but family and friends, especially on Michelle's side, they came together. We decided to put some funds from our previous company into Marini, and it just took off. So that was our first challenge, capital. Our second challenge was, so now we have a factory that Marini owns, right, in
Right.
Nairobi. So we do the production ourselves. But initially, when we had begun, we had to sort of partner with a contract manufacturer locally. And the first couple of production runs were great, approved. It was done by the book. Then after a while, I think they started taking shortcuts. So we'd buy the raw materials, but it wasn't used as supposed to be. And so products started like falling apart on shelf. And we are like, oh God, you cannot be doing this to us right now. And so we had a lot of back and forth with our contract manufacturer because we felt like they were not using our ingredients properly, right? So you'd see probably our leave-in conditioner separating, and you're like, okay, it's never happened. What's the issue now? And I guess every challenge has a lesson in it. I always say, every time something happened, our minds, Michelle and I, were like, okay, you know what, we need to try and find a solution, and we settled on starting our own factory. So the fact that this partnership was not working out with our contract manufacturer actually helped us and pushed us in the direction of starting our own factory, which now we can control, and we know that the product that we put out there is of top quality
Yeah.
always. Yeah, so that's another challenge. And I think the last challenge is, it's not that big now because we've sort of, understood the business, but it was trying to get authentic natural raw materials. So, we want a shea butter that is in its purest form without any impurities. So initially, trying to find those suppliers and try to get a verified personnel who sells these things was really difficult. So it takes a couple of tries, test the products, get them approved. By the time you're settling on one, probably a month has passed, and you're so ready to go into production,
Yeah.
so that was another challenge, but now we've sort of streamlined everything, so it's great. We have great partners on board, we have great suppliers on board, and we have an amazing team back in the factory that does our production.
You mentioned when now you were all heartbroken coming from the bank,
Yeah.
and and now you that bootstrapping, where now you getting this money from
Mhm.
your friends, from your families. I wonder, how was your approach?
Yes.
Because you had your business plan laid out and you were ready.
Yeah.
Obviously, you were taking it to those institutions. You were serious about it. This is how we will present it. I wonder, with your families and friends, did you give them the same
Mhm.
approach for them to take you
Mhm.
seriously, to say, okay, this is the plan as it is, or were you just talking to them casually? How did you present yourselves?
um so it was it to be honest, I think they were very easy talking to family, and them believing in you. So they knew that we already had a pretty much successful branding agency that we've been running for 4 years before
Yes.
Marini, and we've always been talking about this idea of Marini Naturals and what we plan to do. So they were very aware that, Marini's business plan and everything. So they just came on board. And I wouldn't say that it was like, we are all trying to make it. Yeah, we're trying to get somewhere and we're trying to build brands. So it wasn't like a huge influx of money. It was just
Yes.
enough to give us the push, just enough. And we made it work from there. We had to like bootstrap, we had to like calculate everything, and we had to make the right moves. And it's all, there's no risk, no
Hmm.
reward.
Hmm.
I think Marini for us was that. I mean, we knew the company was going to work, we just didn't know how. And we jumped into the deep end and started swimming.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Nia, wow, this is this is so encouraging, so it's inspiring.
Yeah.
In closing, do you have a
Hmm.
book, if you're into that sort of thing, that
Right.
throughout your journey, the both of you, your business journey, that you thought, you know what, I
Hmm.
picked up this book, and man, I learned some very important things out of this book. Do you have
Right.
such a book to share with us?
I do. Okay, so okay, I'll tell you
Yeah.
something that is not uh, like entrepreneurs usually don't do this. So I'm just coming clean and talking about
Mm.
it. I I have tried to read books that are like, motivational and inspirational, and I have never, like, my brain always goes out. Like, it never focuses on it. It's unfortunate, but I read a lot of novels. So because my workload is very fast and heavy and
Mm.
high, right? I try to escape using novels because it takes me to a different world and it's relaxing.
Mm.
However, having said that, there's one book that I have, it has changed my perception of life and spirituality,
Mm.
and I didn't read it. I actually downloaded it on my Audible, so I'd listen to it when I'm driving
Mm.
somewhere. And it's called Conversations with God by
Ah,
Neil Donald Walsh.
yes.
I don't know if you've heard of
Yes,
it.
I owned that book
Yeah,
some time ago.
you do,
Yeah.
right? How amazing is that
Yeah.
book?
Wow.
Yeah, so I as human beings, like, I always believe you, even if you're an atheist, and that's
Mm.
okay, your belief is, look, there's no God, and that's how you live your life, and that's fine. It's, I respect that. But I believe that there's always a higher power, right? Because there's so much magic that is happening around you. You being alive is
Mm.
magic, like, it's amazing that you're breathing, you're living in this world, and you can experience things, you can experience
Mm.
love. It's nothing less than magical. And that right there should encourage you to be more spiritual, to be more, grateful, to be more understanding, to be more loving, to know that there's someone out there who is looking after you, or you have a purpose, you have a greater
Mm.
purpose, and that faith, that belief keeps you going, And so when I came across this book, and I'm like, oh my God, I have all these answers. In as much as I believe in the higher power, I want those
Mm.
answers, and it changed my life. It's amazing, When I'm feeling down, sometimes I listen to the book, and it kind of gives you a push in the right direction.
Nia.
Yes,
Marini Naturals. Thank you. Thank you so much.
yes,
This has been beautiful, inspiring. I wish we can go on and on and
yes.
on. Thank you. Thank you so much for,
Yeah.
for being here with us today.
And yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to our show this week. If you enjoy our show and would like to support us, help us by spreading the word. Tell your friends about Mej and engage on social media. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Our handle is @Mej Podcast. Mej My Entrepreneurship Journey on LinkedIn. If you would like to engage with us privately, drop us an email at defuo@mejpodcast.com. Remember, we are available and streaming wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Defuo Machele, and you've been listening to My Entrepreneurship Journey.